Stage 2 flexibility is when you're comfortable stretching, but you've hit roadblocks and can't unlock advanced moves like the middle splits. To level up your middle splits at stage 2, it's best to pair end range contractions for the glutes with loaded stretches for the adductors. Now, to find out whether you're at stage 1, 2, or 3 flexibility and how you can level up in just 28 days, grab the flexibility blueprint. It's free. Just click or tap the screen there and download it now. So with stage 2 training for the middle splits, we first need to understand what antagonistic muscles are. So the muscles that are going to be tight, preventing you from getting into the middle splits, are the adductors. They're the ones on the inside of the thigh. Now the antagonistic muscles to those, the muscles that do the opposing movement, are the glutes, the glute med, which are the muscles that pull the leg away from the center line. So what I mean by an end range contraction, it's actually when you take the leg as far as it can to its end range and then you contract the glutes to try and pull further. So a way that I can illustrate this is if I get down here and try and lift my leg up, so I try and lift up as high as I could and then contract my glutes and lift higher, 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 that's what we call an end range contraction. So the opposing muscles to those glutes, the adductors, if I get down into a position like this and put my body weight into the legs, so if my adductors now, I'm squeezing my legs together to hold myself off the ground, this is what we call a loaded stretch. And it's loaded because the muscles are having load applied to them. So they have to fight against the load, which means that it develops strength in that end range. So it teaches the nervous system that this is a safe range, but it also thickens the muscle fibers because we're using eccentric and isometric contractions. So it's a win-win because it's developing flexibility, it's teaching the nervous system that this is a safe range, and it's making you strong at that range, which is functional to movement, which is what you want. So let me show you how you can pair these end range strength exercises for the glutes with some loaded stretching for the adductors. And this is what a part of a stage 2 middle splits workout will look like. So if you're ready for this, if you're comfortable with stretching and you know you've hit those roadblocks, and this is going to be really good for you. And if you think this is too easy for you, then you're probably at stage 3. And again, if you want to learn about stage 3 flexibility, grab the flexibility blueprint. So we're going to get started. We always do the end range contraction first. And the reason why is that when you contract the antagonist muscle hard at end range, it actually shuts down the nervous system, or some of the nervous system's capacity for contracting muscles. So antagonistic movements actually help to relax the opposing muscles. So agonist in this case, if I was correct, I'd say that the glute is the agonist and the adductors are the antagonist, but it doesn't really matter as long as you just understand that the muscles are opposing each other. So when I contract those glutes really hard at end range, some of the nervous system's function of contracting the adductors to prevent an injury, because that's what it's basically doing. The nervous system, the reason why you can't do the middle splits is because your nervous system is protecting you by contracting the adductors and protecting you from injury. And so some of that function shuts down and it allows for an increased range of motion straight away. And what it also does is by developing strength in that end range in the glutes, it allows you to actively be able to pull yourself into the middle split. So there's a lot of really good stuff going on here. So we're going to get down onto the hands and knees like this and just bring this leg out to the side, okay? And then from here, what we're going to do is just lift the leg and then come back down, and you'll do that 8 times, okay? So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now try and hold it for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we do the other side. So from here, try not to lean away as you lift the leg and try and really lift as hard as you can, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we go straight into a loaded stretch. Now, if you're new to active middle splits training, it's really good to have a dowel rod like this because it is dangerous if you're not comfortable to be able to get down and put your hands on the ground. So you just want to go to a point where you feel like you're getting to your end range. Then you want to pull into a posterior pelvic tilt and try to squeeze your legs together as hard as you can. That's really important. We're squeezing those legs together as hard as we possibly can. We're going to hold for 30 seconds. So I don't have my stopwatch, but I'll do my best to time. So posterior pelvic tilt, I'm tucking that hips under my body, those hips under my body. We'll call that 10 seconds, squeezing those legs together as hard as you can, keeping the knees straight. You're really going to be feeling this inside the leg here. Okay, we'll call that 20 seconds. So let's go for 10 seconds more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you just use the stick to get out if you can. And if you're flexible enough, what you can actually do is you can come down and then this will push you into your max range and you can do a little bit of a hold there. If you're getting value out of this video, please share this with a friend, somebody that you think might also get value out of it, because I put a ton of free content out there for you all to enjoy and level up with. And the only ask that I have is to please just share it with your friends, and also like and subscribe to the channel if you're into it. So if you do 3 sets of that, where you do the end range contraction for the glutes, and then rest no more than 10 seconds and go straight into the active middle splits, and then you can rest for about 60 seconds. If you did that, that's a good introduction to stage 2 training for the middle splits. Now, it's important that you don't rest for more than 10 seconds, because there's a lot of really cool stuff that goes on during those end range contractions of the glutes. Part of it is that we're fatiguing the nervous system. We're basically restricting its ability to contract muscles. And so that gives you a window of opportunity where it's hard to contract the adductors, meaning you get more flexibility when you go and do your active middle splits. So it's really good to do the end range contraction and then go straight into the active middle splits, and then you can rest for a minute or so before you do your next set. Now, the other thing to think of is that with stage 2 flexibility training, there's a lot of different progressions. So there's multiple types of end range contractions that you can do. So you'll start at a basic level and you'll eventually progress to quite a challenging end range contraction. And then there's also the same thing with the middle splits. There's some, like the active middle splits is where we start, but we move on to some much harder progressions. So you can see some of those on the screen right now. So just make sure that you are working on something that's within your capability, but also something that's challenging you. And if you want to know more about that, make sure you grab that flexibility blueprint. You can click or tap the screen there. And if you want to see another video like this, if you want to see a stage 2 middle splits workout, you can click or tap the screen there, and I'll see you in that next video.